Can anyone confirm if they can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you, Aisha.
All right, great. Thank you for confirming. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. I can see that we have just a few people on the call, so I suggest we wait for 2 more minutes if more people are joining so that we can start the meeting properly. I want to appreciate everyone for joining in earlier than expected, so I'll be back in 2 minutes so we can start properly. Thank you. Probably others will join. Others will join when we're in the course of the meeting. So thank you so much everyone for joining. And my name is Aisha Suleiman, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's event. So before I proceed, I would just like to state a few ground rules that we observed during our webinar series. You can see them on your screen, but I'll just read them. So, please ensure that your mics are muted, and all communication should be done with respect. And please introduce yourself in the chat box. My hands are a bit filled, so I'm just going to introduce myself again so I don't have to type. But I'll be in the chat to, read out a few names of people that are introducing themselves. So like I said earlier, my name is Aisha Suleiman. I am from Nigeria. So please introduce yourself and tell us your name, what you do, or just tell us your name and where you're joining from or your country. I'll be in the chat reading out a few. So please let's engage in the chat. Just introduce yourself and tell us where you're joining from. Okay. No, I don't think I'm audible because I'm not seeing anyone introducing themselves. Okay. We have um hi, I'm Naima Kebir. I'm from Algeria. Hello, Naima. Nice to meet you. And in case you all don't know, she's going to be our speaker for today, but I'll just leave it as at that until the introduction is done properly. So who else is introducing themselves? Okay, we have Georgette from Nigeria as well. Who else? Okay, we have Nuhen from Tunisia. Okay, chemical engineering student and who's interested in climate change and environmental issue. Nice to meet you, Nuhen. Okay, we have Mary Dora from Sierra Leone, and then finally we have Rock from Benin. So yeah, I guess everyone has introduced themselves. So thank you so much for doing that. And I would move to the next Just a second, please. I'm trying to move to the next slide, but it's kind of stuck on this particular slide. Okay, I guess I'll just go ahead. So in the next slide, in case it comes up, so it's an introduction of the organization Maggreen. So Maggreen is an organization that is focused on creating awareness on climate change and promoting clean energy solution in Africa. And our vision is to build a community of network of like-minded people, and not just people, but youth-led organizations as well, who are, in the course of combating climate change and to make Africa have a clean and sustainable energy. So that is what Maggreen is all about. And to further introduce this particular series, the Africa Energy Series, the aim for the Africa Energy Series is quite simple and is to close the knowledge gap that exists among African youth regarding the climate actions or net zero targets, an energy transition journey of different countries in Africa. So we're doing this in such a way that indigenous youths from different countries would, educate us or enlighten us about what your country is doing, so we can find common ground for whether learning or collaboration, because we all belong to the same continent and then we're feeling the impact of climate change equally. So it is much more easier to adapt or adopt some policies or some actions that countries, neighboring countries, or countries that we share same continent with. And yeah, so our aim is simple but yet impactful, to educate, forge partnership between countries for the greater good of the continent. If I'm not mistaken, Algeria is the 9th country that we're having a presentation from. We've done 8 countries so far, and the sessions have been thought-provoking and educating. We've learned a lot of things. Myself personally, I can identify some common grounds among different countries. Like I can say for Nigeria and Ghana, we have a net zero target to achieve by 2060. For countries like Gambia, they are set to achieve theirs by 2050. And then you have countries like Senegal who haven't, set any particular year to achieve net zero, but they definitely have plans to, reduce emissions. They definitely have plans to reduce their carbon emissions. So on the next slide, I'm supposed to introduce the team. I don't know why this slide is not it's not moving. Comment. Maybe I stop share and try to share again. Hopefully it will work better this time. Just a second, please. Excuse me. Not working. I'll try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, then I'll ask someone to help me share the site. Oopsie. It's not supposed to be like this. Okay, so we already talked about the webinar series, and then this is the face behind Maggreen. The face is rather behind Maggreen. So to my left, I have Mary Dora Kamara, who is our program coordinator from Sierra Leone. And to my right, I have Georgia Celestine Udo from Nigeria, who is our technical coordinator. And there's also myself, who is in charge of partnership and communication. So we're going to introduce our speaker, but before then, there's an interactive session or enlightening session that we usually do before introducing our speaker. So I'll stop sharing and Georgette would share her slide for the Mentimeter, but before then you can scan this code. Okay, the code is already available in the chat. So you either use the code, the link that was shared in the chat, or you can scan this QR code. So I'll just leave 30 seconds to either scan the QR code or to get the link from the chat, after which I'll stop sharing my slides. I'm guessing 10 seconds is gone already. 15 seconds left. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds left. And I'm assuming that everyone has copied the link. So I'll stop sharing now and Georgette would come on board to take us through the session of the Mentimeter.
Okay, thank you so much, Aisha, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining. I would quickly share my screen and hopefully we can see it and we can get into it. Okay, I see some people have already gotten access and we get straight into it now. So the first question is, what is the capital of Algeria? We have options here and let's see who is getting it right. To me, there are no right or wrong answers, although there'll be a right answer in the end. It's just an opportunity for us to learn and know more about our countries. So the capital of Algeria is Algiers. So all those that are ticked have gotten it right. Then for the next question we have is, what is the currency used in Algeria? We have peso, we have dinar, we have real, we have escuda. So let's see. Okay, 2 people have selected. To be honest, I find it fascinating because we get to learn more. Because normally, at least the few things I've learned so far was that all Francophone countries, especially in West Africa, are making use of CFA. Okay, someone was speaking something different. So let's see the correct answer. So yes, dinar is the correct one. The next question is, what is the official language spoken in Algeria? Is it French? Is it Arabic? Is it Persian? Is it Turkish? Okay. I know some countries that speak more than one language, so let's see. Okay. So correct answer is Arabic. I know there was a period in which the French colonized Algeria, but their official language is Arabic. So Algeria is the largest country by landmass in Africa. If you paid close attention at the beginning of this, the answer was said. Is it true or false? Are you sure? We have big countries like Nigeria that has population of over 200 million. We have South Africa. Are you sure the answer is true? So yes, the correct answer is true. Algeria is the largest country in Africa by landmass. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And I'll pass it back to Aisha. Thank you all.
Oh, wow. That was a very interesting one. And I think I didn't get the one for the currency right. Maybe it's time for me to visit Algeria, so I've spent some of their currencies and I wouldn't forget what their official currency is. But it was a good one generally. So I'll go back to briefly sharing my slide. Okay. What do we have? Okay, yes, can all agree. So we have our speaker for today. Her name is Naima Kabir, and she's a medical student and a social activist from Algeria, of course. And she has an interest in sustainable entrepreneurship and economic development. She's also a U.S. Department of State alumni from Sushi 2023, a COP28 simulation model delegate, and a Youngo member for climate advocation. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome our guest speaker for today, Naima Kabir. So I'll stop sharing my slide now so she can have the opportunity to share her slide and talk to us today. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about this presentation, and I encourage everyone to relax and listen attentively because there's always something to learn. So, Miss Naima, you have the floor and you can share your slide.
Good afternoon, good evening, whatever is the time in your local zone. I'm really glad for inviting me today, dear Maggreen team. It's a pleasure for me. And from this seat, I really want to say that I'm really proud of the work and efforts in terms of sharing networks and knowledge with African young climate enthusiasts. So I really congratulate you about this effort. So if you are ready, let's get into our pretty darn presentation. I'm gonna begin share my screen. Microsoft Share PowerPoint. Just a minute, just to share my screen, because it has been a long time that I don't use Zoom for that. Can you see my screen?
Personally, I can't see any screen right now, but we saw a whiteboard earlier, but now it's off. So
no, not the whiteboard. My screen.
No, I can't see anything now.
What about now?
Not yet.
Can you see it for now?
Yeah, I can see it. But it's just like, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the delay. I'm just with my phone. I'm trying to. So are you seeing the slides?
Yes. we can see the slides.
You can see it. So let's get started. Our slides for today's session is titled, as you can see, for a more sustainable future. We're gonna deal with especially plans for net zero plans in Algeria and the energy transition in our country in order to achieve the global flow of like climate change advocation, etc. So here is a little bit summary of our session. Like, we will look deeper into 5 main titles, as you can see. First, we will deal with the global climate change effects. Then we're going to see the African climate change relationship, then Algerian climate change relationship. Then we're going to go deeper into our main title, which is Algeria's path to net zero. And finally, we're going to conclude with the empowering young Africans, especially in Algeria. But before going deeper into our session, I'm gonna just like introduce you myself, but you have been already introduced to the participant myself, so I'm really grateful for that. So I'm Naima Kibir. I'm a 20 years old medical student at Oran 1 University. I'm localized in Oran, which is a coastal city in Algeria. A social activist and a climate advocate, especially in sharing climate awareness and education. And I am interested about the green entrepreneurship and economic development in similar countries. So in order to begin directly into our session, I just need you to like knowing first the real definition of climate change. I just want you to imagine Earth's climate system as dedicated balance. Certain gases in the atmosphere, like carbon dioxide, act like a blanket, trapping the sun's heat and keeping our planet warm. So this is a good thing, but human activities are adding more of these gases to the atmosphere, throwing the balance off, of course. The lead to define climate change as what refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and typical weather patterns in a place. It is totally different from natural weather variability because it happens over several decades or longer that has a border effect. So that's why the UN Triple C has defined that climate change refers to a long-term shift in temperature and typical weather pattern in a place. All right. So this disruption manifests globally, in our Earth generally, as more extreme weather events because heat waves, droughts, floods, and storms are becoming more frequent and intense. There is also what we call rising sea levels. It's due to the warmer temperature that glaciers and ice sheet to melt, adding water to the oceans and threatening coastal communities, especially in Africa. So this is a really life-threatening effect. There is also changes in precipitation patterns because some areas experience more frequent droughts while others see increased flooding. We are in Algeria, especially, we are experiencing more frequent droughts, unfortunately. There's also what we call ocean acidification, which means that the pH or the acid level of ocean get lower and lower because oceans gonna absorb more of the carbon dioxide that is in our atmosphere. And this carbon dioxide with the mineral salts in the oceans gonna transfer to I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you a bit, but we can hear you.
I'm sorry, I missed the slides because of a cold. So Can you see and hear my can you see my slides and hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. I'm really apologizing for this misunderstanding. I'm really apologizing. Okay, for the last global effects, we are seeing that there is disruptions of ecosystems because rising temperature and changing weather patterns threaten plant and animal life, leading to biodiversity loss, as you may know. And of course, when we go to Africa and the climate change relationship, our continent is the most vulnerable in terms of facing climate challenges because these effects are multi-phase and multiplied. But one of the most pressing results is the desertification. The desertification, which means our fertile land became just a desert or Sahara, is a land not really able to make agriculture on it, to live on it, to have water on it. So it's really a land where we can't without life. Can you imagine that the desert is expanding more than 7,600 kilometers square a year over the past century. So when we see that in our real life, this is really dangerous on our biodiversity and human resources. So when we see this information, we don't say that we should. Instead, we have to say that we must act urgently and right now, especially that all countries of Africa do not contribute to what climate change is issuing from all the countries. I mean that they do not contribute in economy in the products of climate change, the users and companies that are contributing in the carbon dioxide emissions. So, and even that we are facing these multiple effects. Also, my country, Algeria, doesn't go so less from being affected by what's resulting from bigger businesses of other countries. As you may see, we are facing multiple issues in all fields, starting from the economic instability. Climate change disrupts key sectors like agriculture and tourism, which are crucial in our economy. And that can lead to poverty, unemployment, and hinder development efforts. Also, there is a second effect, which is the increase of desertification, as we have seen that in the whole Africa, but also in Algeria. And that lead to migration, because extreme weather events and rising sea levels can force people from their homes in search of fertile land, water, and safety. This can lead to large-scale migrations and strained resources in areas receiving displaced population. There is another really crucial effect, which is the increase of conflicts between people who are suffering from this massive harsh situation of migrations and their government agencies, the misunderstanding that our government doesn't do the wanted acting toward this climate change crisis. We have also threats to human health. The heat stress, malnutrition due to decreased food security, and the spread of diseases like malaria and other diseases, especially especially pulmonary diseases and allergic one, the asthma, the tuberculosis, etc., are increasing more and more because of the weather, because of heat, the increasing of heat. And our emergency department, and the chronic diseases get more and more because of what we call climate change. And people are they do not observe that this disease is just because of increasing of temperature. All right, so this is a really crucial thing and a crucial effect in terms of the well-being. There is also what we call loss of biodiversity and ecosystem collapse, which is which push species towards extinction. This have cascading effects on food webs, natural resources management, and even human health. Of course, last but not least, there is what we call water scarcity because of water evaporation. Even with 1,200 kilometers of coastal length, Algeria is a country that suffers from poverty of water resources. So can you imagine the consequences with a 1.5 degree of heat increasing? Well, we don't have to imagine that, at least. So this serious situation pushed forward both of youth and stakeholders to collaborate with each other in order to establish tighter plans and action. If you ask me that how Algeria is tackling climate change, I'm gonna say that Algeria is taking the action via the climate action plan that the government have been set, and the role of youth in addressing climate change in Algeria, which we're gonna deal with as a final title in our presentation. So here the main title in our session, which is Algeria's path to net zero. We know that, first of all, what is net zero? Net zero is a state where human activities don't add any more greenhouse gases to the atmosphere than what's naturally removed over a specified period, which means that we're gonna not contribute to adding more carbon dioxide or all greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. We let the nature to get out from these gases, or we even help the nature to get out from these gases with a specific green and bio procedures. This can be achieved by shifting to renewable energy resources, improving energy efficiency, and protecting forests. Algeria, like many countries, has set ambitious goals to achieve net zero emissions in the future. They are focusing on renewable energy mainly, and also nature-based solutions like planting trees and energy efficiency improvement to reach these targets. First of all, as you can see, the government has set the NDC, which stands for the National Determined Contribution. This is a roadmap or just an ambitious plan that behind that the country aims to reduce the greenhouse gas emission by 7 to 22% by their visions of 2030 compared to a business as usual scenario. So actually this is a plan. They didn't like set a specific strategy in order to achieve that. Mainly they said that we're gonna just keep the gas, the greenhouses as they are, as numbers they are in our country. We're gonna not add more greenhouses. We're gonna just like improve the agriculture in specific lands, or we can only import this food that we're gonna make them in these greenhouses. All right, but they do not like set a specific collaboration to achieve this NDC with other countries that have the same vision via 2030. There is also a second plan, which is the renewable energy powerhouse. You know that Algeria has most of the biggest deserts in Africa or Sahara, with more than 2 million kilometers square. This this natural power or source of energy, we can invest in it in installing staggering in a targeting of installing staggering 22,000 megawatts of renewable energy power capacity by 2030. So we can install this photovoltaic plaque in order to invest in solar energy, as we have as the heat is like extreme and the temperature is extreme in Sahara. We can invest in that And they have beginning that via a small collaboration with one European country in order to achieve that. There is also another plan, which is embracing nature-based solutions. By afforestation and land use changes, aim to increase the country's natural carbon capture capabilities by local organization. There is a famous local organization here in Algeria that called Green Algeria, or in our Arabic, الجزائر الخضراء. They are striving on planting trees via all the lands of Algeria with a goal of setting 1 million tree a year. This year they have achieved 60% of their goal, which is a really great thing and enthusiastic thing in order to like networking with them and sharing and collaborating with them, get volunteering with them as young people in order to participate in this afforestation. Especially that Algeria is facing the burning of forests since 2020, since the corona pandemic period. We are facing multiple forest plans. We have lose thousands of hectares of lands, green lands, and that affects our biodiversity in the northern east of Algeria, which is a really green and huge green land. So this is a really good initiative in order to achieve. It doesn't need any material. It doesn't need any specific strategies. The more important thing is the ambition of youth and setting a goal, which is really important. Of course, in order to achieve these net zero plans, we are facing multiple challenges. The first of all, there is the financial and technological support. You know that Algeria is a country that is already setting on the development. It doesn't achieve the wanted development that the government wants. We are selling on that. So in terms of speaking of financial and technological support, we are really need like a support, or at least co-leading in order to for example, to achieve the energy transition plan. So this is a big opportunity to invest in and collaborate with other countries that can co-lead with Algeria, our local and even global strategies. As I have said, that they have been collaborated with Germany in order to install and make the energy transition in our Sahara and invest in this huge land. So this is a really good opportunity in terms of creating new jobs, in terms of strengthening the relationship with the other countries, and even to achieve the SDGs visions via 2030, which is important. There is also what we call public awareness and behavior change. We know that the African person is just like programmed or developed by an idea that we are still in the end. We cannot go through this transition. We cannot go through this development. We are still in need, like multiple things, etc. So this awareness and behavioral change is really crucial thing in terms of speaking of personal development. Here we see the importance of a climate education strategies that the Ministry of Environment tries to share among the different social classes via TV shows, initiatives on social medias, activities shared on the platforms, etc. in order to changing this mentality later by later and strengthen the mindset of development and taking the courage to through the energy transition. Last challenge, which is really crucial in terms of speaking about economy, the economy of Algeria, which is gas flaring reduction. You know that the first Algerian exports is gas and petroleum. So in terms that we speak about energy transition and changing the exportation because of the climate change, we have to target the gas flaring reduction. This is really crucial in terms of touching the economy, the strong, the heart economy of Algeria. I can say that this is an opportunity to go via a smooth transition and creating job, but it has really to set a clarify and a calculated plan in order to not fall in employment and job acquisition, etc. So we have to this is the biggest challenge that we have to calculate, and we have to read it, especially in terms of as I have said, in job unemployment and falling in what we call lack of economy exportation. So empowering local investments in sustainable businesses and agriculture can be a smooth transition for that, but we have to take the long time in order to go through that. We do not have to going through it via one day or another. It has really to be calculated and well studied. In terms of empowerment of Algerian youth, as I am interested in entrepreneurship, green entrepreneurship, and economic development, I have seen that there is many efforts in order to enhance this sustainable economic empowerment via green entrepreneurship. This is, for example, this picture is taken from an initiative that or competition was set in order to choose the most powerful green entrepreneurship between young people. It have been set, I think, in collaboration with the UNDP Algeria. And I feel really proud when I see the initiatives, the ideas of Algerian youth in addressing climate change crisis via investing in challenges and making them great opportunities to take from them the fruitful result. So it's a great thing to make it in to generalize it in all Africa when you address youth directly via initiatives, via competition, and making them in fertile network, in fertile environments in order to stay in touch with each other and take the benefits from each other. This is another initiative, which is taken by the Algerian Scouts. They have set a championship, a championship among youth in order to empower them and educate them, especially about their rights and their duties toward the SDGs. Especially, they have dealt with SDG 7 and 16. They made also at the end of the scouting journey, they have congress and address the most effective members of this championship, and they have given them awards, awarding them in front of their mates, which was really encouraging in terms of sharing awareness between you that they are able to make the difference and they are able to invest in these challenges. Last but not least, there is what we call Fogara's education. Fogara's method is a traditional method that's based on the economy of water in agriculture. We know that there is too many wasting of water when the people making it in agriculture. So this is a really old and traditional method used by the indigenous people in our deserts or Sahara. They made that only with simple simple component and with simple component in order to set this method. So what they have said, what they have planned, the Ministry of Environment have set like a traineeship in order to educate new generation about this method. And this Fogara's strategy has been improved by the UNESCO as a most effective way in terms of not wasting water when we use it in agriculture. So this is a really good thing in order to share it between other populations that who do not have how can I say, who do not have the capabilities of other materials to make their agriculture more sustainable. So this is a good initiative to educate them about that, because it's really simple to achieve, it's really simple to realize it, and it's effective at the same time, which is the most important. So as you can see, our presentation has been finished. I will be really glad to receive all your questions if you have. I'm gonna just stop resharing my screen in order to see your questions.
Thank you so much for that very insightful presentation. Thank you so much. I have some comment. I have some comments, and
yeah, of
I think
course.
I'll just read. Maybe I read what is inside the chat. Someone mentioned something. Someone asked a question.
Yeah, I can see it from Nurhan. I didn't understand the Fogara's method very well. So the Fogara's method is, as I have said, is I have to find the word in English. They use some specific طوب, if you understand it, Nurhan, because she's from Tunisia. So use this kind of I'm gonna just to find the good word. So as I have said, they use this specific so I think they call it brick, all right? So they use this brick in a kind of some specific architectural plan, when they can leave only like a few dimensional spaces for water in order to pass. These few dimensional spaces where water pass gonna directly go to the agricultural land, and the land gonna take their it's needed the amount of water. Instead of the traditional, it's not the traditional, the new method of using water, which is based on what we call the irrigation, the traditional irrigation. It's like leading to waste more than 10% of the water resources using in normal agriculture. They have done some biostatistics between in making comparison between the traditional irrigation and Fogara. They have found that the Fogara, with its traditional method, because it doesn't take many components, it has been like reducing this, like it doesn't make to waste the same amount of water as in irrigation. So this architectural method with its only tiny spaces of water, and the sustainable component with only brick, and the organic component that we use in Fugara make it more sustainable and more effective in terms of the irrigation more than the other thing. And I gonna like share on my LinkedIn profile more specified article about the Fugara's method if you wanna learn more about it. So you just like check my LinkedIn post and you can get it. You're welcome, Noham, anytime.
Thank you so much for shedding more light on that. And like she said, if you want to learn more about it, she's going to post an article about that on her LinkedIn, so you can stay connected with her on LinkedIn at Neema Kebir. You just search and you can connect with her, so that when she posts the article, you can read more about it and you're well informed. So thank you so much again. Okay, she has posted the link to connect with her on LinkedIn, so you can use that to connect. So I was a bit concerned because during the cost of representation, I was expecting to maybe hear a particular year that Algeria has set to achieve net zero according to, like the Paris Agreement. For some countries, they have set a target for 2050, which is like the global consensus. But for some countries, they have moved theirs to 2060 or 2070. So I was hoping to see if Algeria has a particular year that they have set, or they're just more focused on reducing emission. So I also wanted to, commend Algeria's focus on agriculture, despite having, a large part of their land in the Sahara, which is like very dry and not really agriculturally friendly. And this is my first time hearing about the Fugara irrigation system. I think there's another one, and this one is in Niger, but I've forgotten the actual name they call it. But it's not similar to this Fugara. They make it in like circles, so that when it rains or maybe there's a bit of flooding, it can retain water. And then when the land is dry, the water that has been retained will just keep, seeping into the crops that have been planted. So that way, the crops can survive despite, them being in a dry climate or Sahara as well. So, and it might also interest everyone to know that despite Niger being, a hot and very dry area, they actually have a lot of high level of underground water, which is something that, has been beneficial. I also wanted to commend the Green Algeria initiative. Planting 1 million trees per year is something that is truly, truly commendable. Recently, there's been like a high heat wave in my country, Nigeria, and everyone is complaining about increasing temperature and, the weather is hot and stuff like that. So imagine if we plant, let's say, 1 million trees per year. You'd see that we have a lot of trees to, um, what's the word? To take up this CO2, this greenhouse gases, and then probably give us a more climate friendly, atmosphere, instead of having a very, very hot and inconducive environment. And then to Germany, they also, I can see that Germany has partnered or is always collaborating with most African countries. I can see that they're very invested in supporting or helping African countries in terms of maybe not just renewable, but in other aspects as well. And three ways I've seen that, you mentioned the collaboration with Algeria. I also know of different collaboration between the government of Germany and different countries around Africa. So the GIZ is one of them, although they're not really focused on renewable energy. I think they also focused on education and a whole lot of developmental activities, just for the purpose of economic development or environmental development. And then they also capacity building and funding of renewable energy projects across, let me say West Africa, but I'm sure it is across Africa. And then when you spoke about the gas flaring, I was like, yeah, this is also common in my country because there's no proper technology as to what to do with this excess gas that comes out of the flare. So they just flare it and it gets wasted and pollutes the environment. So I don't know if anyone has any more question or comment. Please, if you have any questions for our speaker or you have any comments, please you can drop them in the chat. And I think we can do that in 1 minute. I'll wait for 1 minute. And if you don't have any question or comments, please just type thank you to our speaker in the chat. We really appreciate you taking our time to join us and make this presentation, despite it being in such a short notice. So we really appreciate your effort and your time. So please, everyone, just say thank you to our speaker on the chat. See. Our speaker, and you also tag Maggreen, and then you tag Maggreen while you're making the post on LinkedIn. Yeah, feel free to do that. You can actually share what you learned, during the course of this presentation. So you're absolutely free to do that, Nuren. And don't forget to tag our speaker and Maggreen.